Families in Action on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen. I am your host, but I do not host this by myself, which means I have a co-host. Name is Michael Doherty, but we don't call him Michael Doherty. We call him the Silver Fox around here. So, Silver, what's going on?
How you doing, Cary? I'm doing well.
Good. I'm glad you are. I'm still like all drove or mad or whatever you want to say. You know what happens.
Yeah, I do.
But before we even get any further, our hearts and prayers are out to the families in Orlando and to the people in the hospitals. God bless, and we sure hope that things get better.
Absolutely. What can you say? A heinous act, absolutely. Completely meaningless, and our hearts just go out to those who were affected. Not only the victims, but the people that witnessed it.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness sakes.
The first responders, the families, the friends, everybody.
The first responders were fabulous.
Yeah, and there's just nothing you can do when it comes to idiots, and that guy was an idiot. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm not even going to give him the credit of calling him a terrorist. He's an idiot. So, there you go. That's what I have to say about him, and I'm not even going to mention his name. It's not worth it. So, there you go. Speaking about bad things, I went to the movies this weekend.
Yeah.
Got out of the movie, went in the car, drove home, realized that somebody broke into my car and stole my back leather seats of my Escalade and about $3,000 worth of fishing stuff. Oh, I'm in a good mood.
Ouch.
Yeah. I'm in a really good mood. So there you go. One good way to ruin my weekend, huh? But if you look at the rest of the things that are going on in the world and people that are going through things like in Orlando and stuff, you know what? I'm still blessed.
You can replace a seat.
I can replace the seats. I can buy new reels, and life will go on.
You don't have to be happy about it. But
I don't have to be happy about it, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But I can replace it. So, anyways, on another note, Families in Action is brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We've been on there almost 13 years. And, hey, we're thrilled and excited that we can give a message out there that we believe is important and we need to do. And also Action Family Counseling, which is alcohol and drug rehabilitation centers. We have everything from outpatient to inpatient to you name it, detox, interventions, and I can go on for days. And the Action Foundation, Family Foundation, I'll let you talk about.
We know we haven't talked about this one in a bit, but you have the Action Academy, which is a phenomenal program, a free public sober school for local junior and senior high school students. And last time we talked about it, you said there was a possibility that program would expand.
You know what it is, and we had room for 12. And we always had a waiting list because so many kids. I mean, imagine adults. You do an intervention on an adult. Mike, we love you. You're going to rehab. You go to rehab, you come out, your wife's going to beat you up if you think about doing anything wrong. You go to work, you take care of business, you go home, you got support. Then you take a 15 or 16-year-old kid. By the time parents figure out they're using drugs or drinking or whatever it is, they've been doing it for about a year. By the time a parent has to put them in a treatment center or something like that, everyone they know is using. So think about the peer pressure.
Oh, yeah.
So we created the Sober Schools. It's a joint venture between Action, which is us,
right,
and Hart School District, and it's been extremely successful. But problem is, there's always a waiting list. So we're gonna bump it to 18, and hopefully next year more, so we can help more kids stay clean and sober and feel safe. Isn't that cool?
You're on your way to your own school.
Yeah, eventually.
Building classrooms.
No, I am. Eventually, that is a goal. Right now, we're doing it with the Hart School District and Action. Right. But eventually, yes, I would like to have a building in my own for sobriety and sober kids in a lot of different cities. This is just a experiment here, and it's really been taken off, and it's been wonderful.
A big thank you to the Hart School District for having that vision.
Oh, yeah.
That forward thinking. Fantastic. Cary.
Michael.
We've been mentioning this every
Silver Fox, you know that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
We've been mentioning this every show, but it's a good thing to mention.
It is. Let's keep it going.
Every 19 minutes, someone in the U.S. dies from an accidental overdose. So during our 1-hour show, 3 people will die.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. It's not a maybe.
No. It's a sad fact, of course.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not a majority of heroin addicts. It's opiates and benzos and all those kinds of things. So the drugs out there today that people are using is very, very dangerous, very, very deadly. We're losing more people in this city, in this country, to drug overdoses than car accidents, car crashes, and gun violence combined.
Fact.
So it's really off the hook right now. So we gotta pay attention to it. And that's just drug overdoses. We're not talking about crashes, suicides, reckless endangerment, arrests that comes along with drugs. We're just talking about overdoses, accidental overdoses. Crazy.
Now, I have an action file item here from the Associated Press.
Go for it.
Cary, this is going to make you shake your head. A Houston man convicted of drunk driving 9 times since 1980 has been sentenced to life in prison. Middleton.
I'm shaking my head.
Listen
You're
to
right.
this. Yeah, this fellow pleaded guilty last week to driving drunk in a May 2015 traffic collision. Now listen to this. Investigators say Middleton was arrested after he fled on foot after the wreck, ran into a store, and begged the clerks not to turn him in. Prosecutors say Middleton has already served 4 prison terms for alcohol-related convictions. And we call the terrorist dumb?
You know, we have an idea.
Wow.
We have an idea that can stop this.
We certainly do.
That could stop it like that.
In a heartbeat.
That guy, if what we want to do gets done, that guy wouldn't be able to drive. He wouldn't have been able to crash. He wouldn't be able to get arrested for drunk driving because he wouldn't be driving drunk.
That's right.
So what's our plan?
Ignition interlock devices.
And what is that
on
exactly?
every car.
I love it. We've been talking about this every week. Y'all think about this for a second. If you went to a club and had a drink, got in your car, you could drive. If you went to a bar, had a few drinks, got in your car, you wouldn't be able to drive because your car wouldn't start. So we want to explain it.
It's called an ignition interlock device, and in fact, there are already some in use across the country, and Los Angeles is one of the pilot program cities. So if somebody is convicted for drunk driving, one of the things they have to do is have this ignition interlock device installed in their vehicle, which means it takes about 3 seconds to puff into the device. It's basically a breathalyzer.
Meaning your car won't start if you're over the legal alcohol allowed amount.
And if somebody thinks they're being
Not a good
crafty,
idea?
if somebody thinks they're being crafty and says, hey, I'm going to get my good buddy who's not under the influence to blow in it so I can get in my car and drive away, that'll work once. But what happens is when you stop your car and you turn off the ignition, then
Do it
it
again.
randomly says you have to do another test. And if you fail the test, you get an alarm, and it also records it in the car, and it will not let you start the car no matter how many times you put the key in. It ain't going to happen. So think of how many lives would be saved, Cary. And
Well,
here's
there would be 0 drunk driving arrests. Now that wouldn't stop driving under the influence of narcotics because there's no breathalyzer, but you wouldn't be able to drive drunk. It just can't happen. Your car won't start. So all the people that get arrested for drunk driving, all the people that crash, all the people that lose their lives, we'd stop that in a minute.
And
we meaning society.
And here's what we know. And these are just the people that admitted doing it, but over 4 million people in the United States per month admit to driving under the influence of alcohol. So you can throw another mill on top of that easily.
So
I'm
that
sure.
5 million wouldn't be able to drive.
That's right. So they wouldn't be on the road.
I met 2 people that were against it. Why should I have to blow? Why not? What if it's your kid that gets killed, or your uncle or your aunt? So you get in your car, you go, whew, who cares?
Let me ask you a question. If somebody says, I don't like it, I shouldn't have to blow into the breathalyzer, then the next question should be, well, do you believe you should not have had to take a driving test to learn to get your license? I mean, you have to prove that you can drive and you know how to drive, so why not prove that you're not under the influence? Big deal.
You know, almost every night when I'm driving on the freeway, I could see somebody. You could actually see, if you really pay attention, you can see who's drunk and how dangerous it really is. And we could put a stop to that. Really, just like that, we could put a stop to it. There will be no more drunk driving.
Yeah, they should be in all cars. There's no question.
It doesn't make sense why it's not. So we're on a mission to try to get that done.
I have another action file item, another one from the Associated Press. Listen to this one, Cary. Police arrested 2 parents in Utah on suspicion of child endangerment after their 1-year-old daughter died from ingesting enough heroin to kill an adult.
I did an intervention once, many years ago, on a family. And it was actually on a woman, and I went to her house, and you know where she was hiding her kit? In the baby crib under
Oh,
the baby.
boy.
Yeah. So it was there. I mean, that's not unusual. That's when people are dope fiends. They do what they have to do, and they hide stuff where they have to hide it. And usually, you know, babies are young; they're not going to get to it, but it happens. They do, and sadly, it happened to that 1-year-old.
And remember, we've been talking on the show about this vaping business,
Right.
where people leave what's known as the e-juice, a little bottle of nicotine.
People pay attention to what Michael's saying, because this is really becoming an issue right now. These little e-juices,
Yeah,
they smell like candy.
they're concentrated nicotine.
So these kids are picking them up, and they're smelling it, and it smells delicious. So what do? They eat it. They swallow it, and we're losing kids.
They're going into the emergency department. They're having incredible seizures. They're going into comas, and at least one child that they know of died from it.
Yeah, so really, I mean, if you're going to do things, be responsible. Be responsible. That's all I got to say.
That's a
I mean,
good word for it, Cary.
I don't know what else to say. Be responsible.
From the Action File, the Associated Press tells us of a new synthetic drug that can be purchased online and is connected to at least 50 deaths nationwide, has several states scrambling to stop its spread, with Kansas law enforcement agencies seeking an emergency ban. At least three other states, Ohio, Wyoming, Georgia, have already taken action to ban U-47700 is what it's called, after it was connected to overdoses. And by the way,
You know, I have to say, just think this through for a second. Drugs are bad. We all know drugs kill. But let me tell you what's even almost worse than the drugs is synthetic drugs. These things they're not monitored. Who knows what's in them? The chemicals change always, and seizures. I can go on for days. Seizures, death, comas. I mean, it's terrible what's going on with these things.
it is.
There was a 14-year-old kid that took a bunch of over-the-counter stuff. In 1 week, had almost 100 grand mal seizures. I mean, we really need to pay attention.
Well, this stuff is really powerful. It is nearly 8 times more potent than morphine. And it comes in various forms. It can be snorted, injected, or taken orally.
It's in the internet, huh?
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
pretty
it has
simple,
no
huh?
street name, by the way, so I guess you have to at least be bright enough to say, I want to order U-47700.
Well, it looks like people are ordering it.
Apparently. Wow. Another bad way to kill yourself. Cary,
Yes.
did you know,
I don't know.
and this was new to me, we are right now, as we speak, in the 100 deadliest days for teens. Memorial Day through Labor Day, the deadliest time for teen drivers. Nearly 60% of teen crashes are involving distracted drivers, and that's a new study. Cary, when you think of summer, and there's 2 songs that come to a lot of people's minds. Now some of the younger folks may not relate to this, but you'll get this one.
City.
Summertime and the
Right.
Livin' is Easy.
Uh-huh.
That one was composed in 1934
Sign
by
of my
George
name, all
Gershwin
I'm going to start singing here.
from the opera Porgy and Bess, and You Got Ahead of Me. There Ain't No Cure for the Summertime Blues. That was written by rocker Eddie Corcoran and his manager, and it's been recorded by The Who, Jimi Hendrix,
That's
and
right.
country singer Alan Jackson. And listen to this. Eddie Corcoran, one of the writers, died in a car crash at the age of 21. When the school year ends, Cary, you know what happens?
You know what is the worst feeling? I mean, I love when my kids are independent. You know, they get in the car, they drive, they go places. But I'll tell you, when my younger daughter, she's the youngest, gets in her car and turns that key and drives away and says, I'm going to Arrowhead, or I'm going wherever she's going, I get that cringy, creepy feeling. It's just like, oh, God.
And rightly so.
Because so many kids lose their lives to driving.
You talk about this all the
Especially
time.
this time of year, Mike.
It is, and you talk about this all the time, about how parents don't communicate with their kids, but when the summertime comes, it's like, oh, okay, they're off doing their thing, I'm off doing my thing, but that's not a good time to let go of your parental authority.
Or younger kids, with 16 to 20, whatever, they get in a car and they're already not experienced drivers, but they think they are. But now you throw in 2 or 3 other kids and the music's blasting, distractions are all over the place. They're vaping, the phones are ringing. If we like it or not, they're on the phone, and it becomes so dangerous.
It's not only dangerous for the teen, it's dangerous for other people, because listen to this. Over the past 5 years, more than 5,000 people have been killed in crashes involving teens during the 100 deadliest days. It's actually
And you all know why it's 100 most daily, why it's so deadly right now, right? Kids are out of school.
right.
They're out partying
Out
and
there
having a
driving.
good old time. It's summer. They're going to the beach. They're hanging out with their friends. They're all over the place.
And there's a disturbing trend showing that texting and social media use are on the rise among teens, and they don't stop it when they're in their cars. So we're losing well over 1,000 people a year now to teen crashes because of this driving while distracted business. And during the
How do you tell a 17, 18, and 19-year-old person that they can't text? They're going to do it. How do you tell them that they can't be on the phone? They're going to do it. Even if you have Bluetooth, it still distracts you somewhat. And if you have a bunch of people in the car, it's distracting. I'm a little bit older than 18, not much. But if I have a bunch of people and we're listening to music, I could get distracted pretty easy too.
yeah, well,
So imagine a kid. How old are you guys? 21? Uh-oh. Watch out. Do not text.
do not text.
I'm guilty. I used to text a lot. And I'll tell you, I found myself in a couple bad situations where I could have got pretty dangerous. I won't text anymore. It's just not going to happen. I'd rather pull over because it's worse than driving drunk. The fact. So anyways, I know you guys don't do that, right? See, airplane mode. That's really the safest thing. I believe that soon cars are going to make it so you can't text anyways. I mean, I know that's coming. So that
Probably wouldn't be hard to do.
No, they already have it.
Yeah.
And all phones have that capability. And hey, it's just another way to save lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sure is. Now this is part of what we're talking about here with the 100 deadliest days for teens. A report from the White House Office of National Drug Council Policy says that more American teens try marijuana for the first time in summer than at any other time of the year. This translates to, listen to this, Cary, 6,300 new users a day. A 40% increase in first-time youth marijuana using
wonder
during
why.
June to July.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty simple reason. Look at everybody's opinion of marijuana is these days. What they don't do is treat kids like I do. I treat kids. I see what happens to younger kids that start smoking pot young. They're in my rehabs. Yeah, and they losing their motivation. Their short-term memory is gone. They don't care much about anything. And even if it doesn't take you to other drugs, not everybody that smokes weed is going to become a heroin addict. I hear that all the time. Okay, but almost every heroin addict I ever met started with weed. So we can look at it two ways. But even if it doesn't, the damage I see happening to adolescents, especially with the potency of marijuana today, is about one word: disgusting.
Yeah.
It really is. And I'm not one. I mean, you're an adult, do what you want to do. But when an adolescent that has a brain that's not developed to mid-20s starts smoking pot that has a 7-day half-life that stores in their brain, I see the damage. It is not pretty. So it's for parents out there that think it's only pot, good luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have fun with that.
Right.
Not every kid's going to get in trouble with it, but large amount of children that I deal with are in pretty bad trouble when it comes to THC. In fact, we run a psych unit for adults, and you have to be either homicidal, suicidal, or gravely disabled, which means psychotic to get
Right.
in. And a large amount of our psychotic patients, when we test them, the only thing showing up is THC.
Yeah.
So it is at potency right now that can cause psychosis. So we're having major issues. People don't see that. People don't talk about it. They think it's only pot and it's natural. Yeah, okay.
And now let's put that behind the wheel. So
Yeah.
now we
Oh,
have
yeah,
a teen that's high on marijuana, plus they're texting and they're talking to their friends. They shouldn't be there. They should be in a rubber room.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be behind the wheel of
I'm
their
getting
car.
all kind of, because it's been with my car business. Plus, I've been dealing with this father that has a 13-year-old kid trying to put a kid in treatment, and I'm not taking him. He's a chronic pot smoker. I'm not going to take a 13-year-old kid in my rehab that's a chronic pot smoker, because you can't forget it in a month. This kid's going to have to go to Utah for about a year and let his brain catch up with him. He's too messed up. On that note, Michael,
It's time to take a break here. We're going to be back, and we're going to continue this discussion, the 100 most deadly days for teens, right here on Families in Action and on KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. Be right back.